Good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Let's wait perhaps 2 more minutes to see if anyone else is joining us today, and we'll get started with this working session.
Good morning, Alfredo. Stephen Porter, speaking from the Republic of Liberia, West Africa.
Good morning. Hi. Good to talk to you, Stephen.
A pleasure.
A pleasure. Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I think we can probably get started today. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Alfredo Villavicencio Vieira. I'm an evaluation specialist at the Climate Investment Funds within the Evaluation and Learning Initiative. I'm delighted to be here with you today in what is our fourth Transformation and Change Learning Partnership working session. These are part of our monthly working sessions that we've been doing since February, every third Thursday of the month. And in this particular case, we are interested in talking about building and sustaining a community of practice, particularly under the experience of the Transformational Change Learning Partnership and its community of practice. Angela, could you help me, please? Next slide. So most of you, I think, understand and have been part of this Transformational Change Learning Partnership community of practice for a while. So I'm going to try to run through the history very quickly. The climate investment funds are leading it because it's part of an impact statement, among other reasons. It's the first three words, as you can see there, of the impact statement from CIF are accelerated transformational change and climate financing that enables progress towards net zero emissions and adaptive climate resilience development pathways in a just and socially inclusive manner. The TCLP was launched in 2017, so we are almost or already 7 years old, to enable collaborative learning on transformational change, which has been the reason why we've had multiple work streams. And particularly as of now, we have three: one in transformative evaluations, one in operationalizing transformational change, and we have in community of practice as well. Then we have as well, we had in the past the interest groups, and they were fundamental for the work that we've been doing. So in the past The interest groups were thematic, and they contributed to creating different knowledge products and activities from the transformational change learning partnership that were extremely valuable. And now we're shifting a bit towards these working sessions that are knowledge based, and we're going to talk a little bit more about them later. As of now, our partnership has around 900 stakeholders from over 360 institutions. You can see there the amount of different stakeholders and institutions that are part of it. They're from all over the world, in multiple countries, in multiple regions, in every region. We have worked on multiple knowledge products and learning activities. We're going to go through some of them later, but I think it's important for us to tackle a little bit on what it's also the approach that we have for the communities of practice. And that's, please on next slide, Angela. And it's basically, we have this work around the TCLP works in this common area, what Wenger Trainer define is the common area between what it's a domain and community and a practice, right? So that's common area between the three of them, which is groups of people who share a concern or a passion for something they do and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. That's how we define the TCLP and its approach. And it's crucial that we understand that, and that's why we create our working sessions. That's why we're constantly meeting with you, with everyone here present, and different knowledge products and activities. And you can see there through the work streams that I mentioned, TCF or Transformational Climate Finance, evaluations and operationalization of transformational change framework. And we definitely, at the end of the day, we end up building in our collective experience, and basically in the reason why we are delighted to have every one of you here is because each one of these sessions, in particularly in the different activities that we have as a community of practice, basically tries to draw on your experiences, on your backgrounds, and the transformative intent that most of us have in terms of climate action, and build on it. Next slide, please, Angie. So we have different stakeholders, as you can clearly imagine. We have what we've called in the paper that we've shared in the past, and it's part of the website as well from this event. We have a very broad, a large amount of stakeholders that we've divided into three different categories: a meso, micro, and a macro categories. But aside from the labels, I think what's important is to understand that each one of these categories it's not that we have different knowledge products or activities for themselves only, but multiple of our activities can actually be applied to several of these different stakeholder groups. And that's basically because a lot of the work that we do, we try to make it a public good, while obviously also making it an integral part of the climate investment fund's operations. So as you can see, there's an inner group that it's mostly the CIP Secretariat, the MDB focal points, certain donor countries, recipient countries, and evaluation and learning experts. And here we basically develop, not just develop the concept, methods, and metrics, but we try to embed them within the CIF operations and the different programs, from all programs through, for instance, the different evaluations that we're having, to new programs in the design and diagnostic phases for their investment plans and for the different design program documents as well. Then we have this sort of middle area where we're trying to contribute to climate finance being more transformational overall. And you can see there that we have additional stakeholders as foundations, independent funds, private finance, climate focus groups, the other climate funds as well, and other stakeholders. And then we have even a broader one, and that's where we try to apply transformational change lessons to across basically every other public, private, and philanthropic sectors to scale impact. And now I'm going to just go ahead and show a few of the different examples of how our community of practice have been working with these different groups, or across these different groups, in order for us to build a little bit of a discussion that we're definitely looking forward to have with all of you, in order to improve and meet your expectations as well of our community of practice, because at the end of the day, you are the different members that we have, right? So Angie, please, next slide. One of our definitely work is that inner circle there that talked about the different how to embed that is the transformational change framework within the design and the project life cycle of the different CIF programs. And here we have a clear example of what an activity that we did on February, if I'm not mistaken, of this year, which is the Zambezi Watercourse Regional Program. There was a specific transformational change framework workshop for the diagnostic phase of the Nature, People, and Climate program investment plan, which it's a regional plan that encompasses multiple countries and try to tackle nature-based solutions. Basically, what we did there is through a multiple days workshop, engage with stakeholders, different stakeholders that come all the way from receiving countries to observers to regional institutions, to try to do a backcasting approach. We did a backcasting approach in this diagnostic phase to understand what strategy could be, or what questions should we ask in order to define a strategy that would align with the transformational intent based on nature-based solutions for the Zambezi watercourse. And some of the outcomes, you can see them there in that figure to the right, and it's just one example of how we build in this community of practice in some of those different activities. Next slide, please, Angie. Another example is the different closeout workshops and the evaluative work that we do overall. So the closeout workshops are different workshops that we have in terms of investment plans for more mature programs like FIB, BPCR, and SREP, where actually Mike and I are currently in the Maldives on a mission to support the results in the closeout workshop and for the Scaling Renewable Energies program here in the Maldives, where we had two projects, one with the ADB and the World Bank, on scaling renewable energies in both the outer islands and in the greater Mali area. So basically what we do in these different workshops, and we've done it in Indonesia with the forest investment program, we've done it in Zambia and Dominica, with 6 different countries in the Caribbean as well, and a regional track for PPCR. It's try to understand through first to collect a large array of monetary results, different results from these programs, from the latest data that we have before they closed, or right before they closed. And then we try to take an evaluative approach to the transformational change lens in order to understand what have been one of those lessons, challenges, and opportunities that have come up from these different programs. And then we try to apply a lot of those learnings to the new CIF programming, as in a clear case of that was how, for instance, the Zambia PPCR closeout workshop took a lot of learnings towards the Zambezi regional workshop that we had, that I just mentioned in terms of nature, people, and climate. Next slide, please. The Transformational Change Workshop also has its annual workshop. A lot of people here present have been part of them. We meet every year, and we try to basically build together a working agenda based on the transformational change framework and in the different work streams that we have: transformational climate finance, and transformative evaluations, and operationalizing transformational change. And once we're together for those days, we try to deepen our transformational intent, but also the understanding that we have about different transformational change concepts. And that has been helping to build since 2017 a large array of concepts that those who have been part of this community of practice are very familiar with. For instance, the 5 dimensions, the evaluative questions, the signals work, and the different stages that those signals can be in terms of transformational change. And it has also led some part of the publications that we've had, as you can see there, as the principles for transformational climate finance document, that then later in the same workshops, annual workshops, we end up discussing what are some of the next steps that our community of practice are requiring in order to deepen their transformational intent. And now, for instance, we're about to launch, if I'm not mistaken, this Monday, a series of 3 different publications in terms of transformational climate finance, touching on local resources and transformational change, and also on managing risk for foreign exchange, topics that were demanded by our community of practice, and that we've worked together to build, and we've even had working sessions like the one you are here present today to discuss those documents. Next slide, please, Angie. We also have these working sessions, the monthly ones, and this is our fourth, as I mentioned. We're excited to have taken upon this initiative to reconnect in a different approach with everyone here. And it has been very interesting because the amount of participants that we have, it varies, the interactions, it varies, because some of these topics are thematic, some of these are cross-cutting. But at the end of the day, what we try to do is collect your different and build on your collective expertise, as said in the beginning, in order to develop knowledge products and activities that are useful for you as a community of practice, and where we can all build together. So we've had a working session on one of these TCF series that I just mentioned, which is resourcing local actors and communities in climate finance. We've had one on a piece of work that Scott Chaplow, who's present as well right now, is leading on conducting diagnostic evaluations for transformation climate action. We've had one on a token for maximizing transformational intent that should be also launched in the next month or so. And we are currently on this one, but we're also going to have a few more. In June, we're expecting to do one on the resilience and the climate finance architecture, a little bit of information around there, and some financial mechanisms around resilience and adaptation financing. And every third Thursday of the month, we hope to keep doing this for at least the next months, to collect your feedback on these different activities and documents. Next slide, please. And we also have, just almost as a final slide, a different outreach to all of you, right? So the first one, obviously the working sessions is a way of reaching out to you. But again, we're over 900 people all together meeting to discuss these different knowledge products. So we also use platforms such as climate investment funds, where we have over, the climate investment funds has over 33,000 followers. And we're constantly communicating the different work that we do, the different initiatives that we have. And we also have our bi-monthly update emails, like the one you have on the right hand. Obviously, the intention is not to read it, but also to just let you know that we constantly are trying to update our community of practice in the work that we're doing, so that we also build this collective understanding of what we should continue to do or not in terms of transformational intent and the work that we're doing here in Transformational Change Learning Partnership. So now I've talked, I feel, a lot, probably more than expected. So I would like to quickly go and ask here everyone present, and please feel free to just jump in, turn on the camera and your mic, to help me understanding not just it's more than in the other working sessions. We had this clear knowledge products that we wanted to discuss. The knowledge product here that we have, it is a fine piece for sure. It summarizes our intent and the things that I've talked now, but it is more like a reference document that we want to use to kick off this discussion and how to make, for instance, your involvement with the TCLP the most useful, and what are the aspects of that. And I can go to the next questions, but I think just first consider the work streams that I've repeated already a few times. And I will be very interested in first, let's say, to listen that first part of it. What aspects of your involvement with the TCLP have been the most useful for your work? Is there any recommendation that you have in terms of that? And please feel free to raise your hand or just unmute and turn on your camera. We can go to the next questions later as well.